Trudy Fields, a longtime Robertson County resident who was allegedly killed and dismembered by her daughter, Torilena Fields, last week.
Before we get into the video, I just want to disclose that this video contains graphic descriptions of violence. No violence is shown, but the descriptions of some things that's going to be shared is pretty graphic. So I just wanted to give that disclosure up front. Recently in the news, there was a Kentucky woman accused of dismembering and cooking her mother's corpse, and she was reportedly performing witchcraft before police made the gruesome discovery. So take a few minutes, a couple minutes, and watch the video, and I'll be back for my take on this.
How she is, and see if she's eye to eye. Can you face what you've done?
That family in mourning after a Robertson County woman is charged with the murder in connection to her mother's death. 32-year-old Torilena Fields was scheduled for an arraignment today, but since her indictment was filed this morning, she was not in court. Our Brittany Harry spoke with family members who showed up at the courthouse today. They shared this photo of Trudy Fields, telling us she was a loving mother. We do want to warn you, the details of this story are disturbing.
A godly Christian woman.
That's how family members describe Trudy Fields, a longtime Robertson County resident who was allegedly killed and dismembered by her daughter, Torilena Fields, last week.
It's one thing to find out your family member's been murdered, but it's a whole other thing for the details and stuff. It's just literally unimaginable is unimaginable.
A new indictment claims Torilena shot Trudy in the head and stabbed her multiple times. Court records alleged Torilena then placed some of her mother's body parts in the oven and heated them, quote, until they were charred. The indictment also alleges a dog was tortured and killed.
How do you say, I'm so sad and I want justice for my family member, but I'm so sad because is my other family member not okay? Where do we go? We are way in a gray area there.
Torilena was living in California for a while to pursue acting, according to her family. They say she was also into witchcraft. Family members say she recently suffered a brain injury in a motorcycle crash. That's what brought her back home to Kentucky in August, where she had been living with her mother, Trudy, since.
We think that Trudy was trying to help her with whatever she had going on mentally.
Trudy's sudden death is a shock to family who is still trying to make sense of what happened. As for Trudy, they say she was always there for anybody who needed anything, and they say she loved her farm and was a hard worker.
This is a deeply disturbing and tragic situation, and my heart goes out to the family, the community, and all those impacted by this horrific event. Now, as Christians, we believe in a God who's just, merciful, and who brings comfort to those who are hurting, even in the face of unimaginable evil. Scripture reminds us that in times of darkness, we must turn to the Lord for strength and guidance. Psalm 34:18 assures us the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. In such circumstances, it's important to remember that God is still present, even when we cannot understand why such evil happens. The Apostle Paul reminds us in Ephesians 6:12 that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. While we cannot fully comprehend the actions of individuals who commit such grievous sins, we can trust in God's ultimate justice and sovereignty over all things. Now, witchcraft and the involvement in dark spiritual practices, as reported in this case, are clearly condemned in the Bible. Deuteronomy 18:10-12 warns us against such practices. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. The Bible calls us to reject these forces and seek God's light instead. To the family, I want to offer my deepest condolences. In times like this, words can feel inadequate, but I encourage you to lean on God's comfort and his promises. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." May the Lord bring peace and healing to all those affected, and may justice be served as the investigation continues. And let's keep the family in our prayers, that God will bring restoration in his perfect time.